Okay, so this is take 9 freaking million. So today I want to go over the application. It's pretty obvious that in order to do your best on it, you just have to know what it consists of ahead of time. So I actually did this a few years ago when I got to college, and honestly, I would be super lost by now if I hadn't gone through the application myself to see exactly what comes on it. The reason why I want to start on the overall application is because if we start like this huge, in the future, in each video, we're going to be able to go section by section in order to make our application 2 thumbs up. Make sure to like and subscribe so you can get the notifications in the future when I drop these videos. Okay, and I just want you to remember this now. This whole thing is a process, and what we're doing today is just the first step. So don't trip, don't freak out. You have a whole bunch of time to do. Well, okay, I hope you have a whole bunch of time to do this. Just do stuff consistently year after year and everything will be fine. So now let's switch over to my screen so you can see exactly what the application looks like. So this here is the home page. We're gonna go ahead and go into personal information. Here we have release statement. That is just you're agreeing to something, honestly, I don't even know. Then we have the general information. First name, middle name, last name, what your gender identity is, your biological sex, just all that stuff. Then we have your contact information, which is your address. You have your phone number and your email. And here I suggest that you make an email specific for dental schools and for your application so that you don't get any emails lost. I have here, I mean it's blurred out, but my dental email and then my phone number. Then we have citizenship information. A lot of this stuff, I mean there's not too much explaining. I'm just gonna go ahead and scroll through it so you can see it. But I mean, your country of residence, stuff like that. Then we have environmental factors. So if you had any family situations you wanna talk about, any disadvantages. We have what your high school situation was and if you have any relatives in dentistry. Then we have the parent guardian section, and you have the option here to opt out if you want, but I suggest just filling everything out. I mean, it's best to just fill out everything you can on this application so that the committees can see everything. We have race and ethnicity, so you're just filling out your ethnicity, your race. And there's other information. So you have your dent pin, that's the number that's on your DAT. We have your main language, and if you speak any other languages. If you've ever committed a felony or a misdemeanor or have had any other offenses that you need to talk about. It's important to note here that if you put no, but you really have had one of these things in the past, the dental schools are gonna figure out because they run a background check anyways. So it's best just to put yes so that they don't figure out something that you've been trying to hide, because that would really screw your chances of getting in. So just be honest on this part. It gives you an option for the COVID-19 impact, how you've been affected academically, professionally, and personally. I'm pretty sure all of us have been affected, so you have 2,500 characters here to write about that and what's changed under these conditions. Then if you've taken a gap year, you just write there. If you've applied previously to dental schools, you want to mark yes. And then what you've done to practice your manual dexterity, so that's sewing, doing arts and crafts, playing the piano, guitar, things like that, you're going to want to mark down so that they can see that you've been practicing and that you're getting ready for dental school. So this is where you put in your letters of recommendation and the information about who wrote it. I don't think I've ever met somebody that didn't waive their rights to access the evaluations. Make sure to always put yes, because that shows the dental schools that you're not manipulating it or changing anything that's in the letters. And then also give the schools permission to contact your references. Next is experiences. This is where you're going to add things like your jobs, extracurricular activities, research, dental shadowing, volunteer hours, all that stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do that. For example, we're going to pick dental shadowing. Then you're just going to go ahead and fill out the name of the organization or the person you shadowed. Then you're going to put the dates that you shadowed. And so this is kind of tricky because it's possible that you shadowed someone for over a year. So you're going to do the start date and the end date. and then I would imagine it's part-time. And for example, for the title, I'm just gonna put like dental shadowing, and then it was volunteer hours. And so for weekly average hours, basically the only thing that matters here is the total hours. I mean, it's pretty hard to know over a whole year what the average of the weekly hours was. So it's just important to go ahead and, for example, let's say we want 100 total hours. We're just gonna put 50 weekly hours in 2 weeks, and then just make sure that the total hours is correct. And then you have some space to write about what you learned, the key responsibilities you had, just a little description about it. Then you have space to add achievements, your honors, your awards and scholarships. You just put the name of that and a brief description. Here there's a space to add your licenses. So if you're a registered dental hygienist or a certified dental technician, you can just input your licenses here. And then the big banger comes next, personal statement. So you have 4,500 characters, including spaces, to write your personal statement. And I hope you already have this written, so you can just go ahead and copy and paste what you have written. And then again, in the future, we'll go over on how to write your personal statement. Next, we have academic history. So we're gonna go ahead and input our high school that was attended. Then you're gonna add your college or university. So for example, I went to Brigham Young University. I'm still there. They go by semesters and I'm still attending. Then you go ahead and put what your very first semester was, and then it'll be inputted so that when you go to transcript entry, it already has your school in it and you can start putting in your grades. So for example, I'm gonna do winter 2024. My academic status was a freshman and that I completed that whole semester. Then from there, when I have the semester input, I do the course code. So for example, it has biology 101, so I put 101, then introduction to biology. Then the subject, I'll go search for, the subject is biology. And then after that, we will decide on how many credits it was. So for example, it was 3 credits, but let's say it was less. Let's say it was 0.5 credits. You're just gonna go on this little bar and go to 50 and then input 0. And so, pretty self-explanatory. Then you input the grade and it'll generate the CAS grade, and then you're good. So you're gonna do this for your whole transcript, and you wanna make sure you do it right the first time, because if you don't, it's gonna put a big hold on your application. So triple, quadruple, check it 5 times if you have to, but make sure to get it right. Then we have standardized tests. If you've taken the DAT, you just go ahead and put when you took the DAT, what your dent pin is, and then you're just gonna input your scores. So I'm just gonna input random scores in here. It would be nice if I got this, or really anybody got scores like this. I'm sure there's people out there, but put that in and then you're good to go. So if you notice at the top, it says add a program, and then there's more to the application. I'm not gonna go there yet because we're just looking at the overview. But in the future, when I'm actually doing this myself, I will show you what it's like to add a program and what it exactly means. So real quick to close, I just want to go over a few things that I think are super important that we just barely saw today. Okay, so 1, just make sure to volunteer and shadow now. Make sure you're doing it year after year and not just trying to hammer it in at the end. I promise you that if you start now and do it little by little, you'll be super grateful in the end that you started now. Number 2 is study hard and get good grades. Okay, it's not as easy as it sounds, but just put in the time. You saw that we have to write down our transcripts and send it into the committees. If you started out pretty rough, especially your freshman year, just make sure you're doing better semester after semester, because the committees really like to see that. Number 3. Yeah, don't commit a felony. 4, start doing stuff with your hands right now. Practice playing the guitar, learn to play the piano, start sewing. Just practice using your hands, because when you get to dental school, I promise you it'll pay off. I hope this video helps you, and if you have any questions about what we went over today, go ahead and drop a comment below and I'll make sure to answer your question. Besides that, stay tuned for future videos. Okay, so I almost forgot to add, it's not a joke, don't commit a felony.